We've been traveling for 4 years full-time as nomads, and the one thing we've learned is there's not one right way to be a nomad. And that's what we're going to talk about in this week's video. Where are we, Benny?
We are on a cruise right now. You can see the ocean behind us flowing. We are on a fabulous cruise to South America, and we have run into so many nomads, so many full-time travelers or people that have different travel stories, and we're going to bring those to you. So we're going to bring you those individual stories and how you can be a nomad and do it in a unique way.
Yeah, you know, what's really funny is like when we describe nomad, we think of how we do nomading.
Yeah,
right?
Camels across the desert.
No animal tourism. No, we have 2 carry-on suitcases. We don't have any storage. We sold everything. We sold our car. We sold our house. Everything in Denver in May of 2021, and we've been traveling full time ever since. And that's how we think when we say nomad. That's what we think. But you know what? There's lots of different types of nomads.
And there's some things that are, I think, maybe unique about what we do is we love repositioning cruises. So this is something that we do 2 or 3 times a year. We also do house sitting. A lot of people do house sitting as well. A lot of people don't do house sitting. Some might have permanent locations,
right.
Some might not.
And some people do 5-star hotels, and some people do really hostels. You know, we live on about a $60,000 a year budget, but that's just a number we randomly picked because it works for us and it's the style of living that we like to have. But some people have really high budgets, some people have really low budgets, some people don't even have budgets.
Well, I mean, another thing that I think about is that we're retired. I call us early retired, although I'm going to be turning 65 next month.
It's getting later and later retired.
But we run into a lot of people that are still working and that are also nomadic and full-time travelers that still have gainful employment.
Yeah,
so
they might be
right way to do it.
Right, and they might call themselves digital nomads, or maybe they call themselves retired, but they're still working. So this nomad term is a really loose term that we're not trying to define, and especially in this video, we just want to give you some choices and show you the different ways that people can nomad. But who are we?
Who are we? I am Steve. This is Chris. We are Chris and Steve of EatWalkLearn. And like Chris said, we've been traveling the world for 4 years. And one of the best things that I love about doing this kind of traveling is running into other full-time travelers. And there are a ton of them that love to cruise because cruising is a great way to travel and a great way to stay and see amazing places. And we've got a great group to share with you today.
Yeah, so we've got 4 or 5 interviews coming up, and we're just going to cut from one person to the next. So please stay tuned. We've got solo travels. We got full-time working nomad travelers. We've got people who call themselves expat yet also nomads. So it's an interesting eclectic mix that we're so fortunate that they're on the cruise with us. We met each other through our Nomad Life Facebook group. We'll put that link down in the description. You can join our Facebook group there. And the virtual community we've built with other nomads has turned into a real life community. We are on these repositioning cruises together. We're going to Buenos Aires. There's 60-something other nomads coming to Buenos Aires for Buenos Aires summer, our North American winter. We're all going to be hanging out in BA, doing things together or not. Maybe we'll do yoga in the morning or not. Well, we're staying in different Airbnbs all around Buenos Aires, but we're connected. And it will be really fun. I think what I might do is gather their stories and do a book about it. So if you're interested in a book, or if you're interested in being in that book and telling us your nomad story, reach out to us in the description below. Yeah. But first up, we have probably one of my favorite, I say they're one of my favorite couples, but I have so many favorite couples that we've met. Kate and Dave, they are fabulous, really fun. They're up next, and they're going to tell you their story about how they're nomad, but they're not nomad, or maybe they're expats, but they're not expats. We'll let them tell you their story. Stay tuned.
Okay. All right, we're Kate and Dave, and we have been essentially nomading, or I like to call it long-term travel, for about 12 years now.
Yeah.
And why don't you say how we started?
Well, we started when Kate was eligible for retirement and had a great benefits package. And we took up some offers from our friends to go visit various countries. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
Right. So we spent a whole year traveling without a house. And then we came back to California to sell everything we owned because we knew this was the lifestyle that we wanted to live. But then we discovered a little place for sale in Baja Sur in Mexico where my sister lives. And we decided to buy that. And we thought, well, we actually bought it sight unseen, which I think is kind of a cool, unusual, maybe crazy thing that we did. And it turned out to be wonderful because it initially was our home base, but now it feels like home. But still, we travel, like right now, we're in the middle of an 8-month travel cycle. We're about 5 months into it. And
we've probably averaged 7 or 8 months of travel a year.
Probably. And connecting with this incredible global tribe of nomads has been amazing. It's been an incredible part of our experience, meeting people all over the world. And
we do a mix of house sitting and Airbnbs, staying with friends, a little bit of hotels, not our favorite, and cruising.
Right. And we also rent out our place in Mexico when we travel. So that's part of what makes this sustainable for us income-wise. Sure.
Yeah.
So a big part of this adventure for us has been that I'm a writer. So I have kept a blog for many, many years. And over the last few years, I've also published 2 books about our travel lifestyle. One is called Call It Wonder, and the other one, the recent one that just came out last year, is called Wanderland, Living the Traveling Life. And it's been super cool because somebody on this cruise that we're on with this incredible group of nomads has been reading the book and posting about it. So it's so cool because it's like a mirror within a mirror within a mirror.
Dave, what do you do when you guys travel? Is there anything you like to do as you travel around? And how often are you in some location?
Yeah, well, one of my specialties is doing research about where we're going and writing lists of all the wonderful things that we can do, and then talking together about what feels good to plan, and then we kind of milk that feeling and look forward to it. And we like to do adventure things, walking, seeing the sights, the cultures, the museums, trying the food, doing the things the locals do. And of course, if I go somewhere where the diving's good, I'll be scuba diving or snorkeling or zip lining.
We also seek out live music wherever we are. That's something we absolutely love.
And as usual, we maintain our yoga and meditation practice wherever we go.
Mm-hmm. And oftentimes we invite other people to join us in the yoga and meditation, which we've been really fortunate to be able to do during this time on the cruise. So one of the great people, wonderful people that we've met on this cruise is Chris Gollock, who we follow on Facebook. She has a website called A Suitcase and a Smile, and she is up next.
So I am so excited because I get to interview Chris Gollock. She is one of my friends that we have met online. We talk, I don't know, once a week or whatever in our nomad life and virtually, and we're so thrilled that we're on the cruise together and we get to hang out in real life. So Chris, tell us who you are.
My name is Chris Gollock, and I have been nomading abroad since 2019. I like to document my nomad life on Facebook on a page called A Suitcase and a Smile.
Isn't that a great name? I love
fun.
that. Yeah, Suitcase and a Smile. So I know when you first started, you were kind of a digital nomad, and then you fired, and tell us all about that.
Yeah, in 2017, I actually started working for myself. I started an editorial business in mathematics. I used to be a professor, so my business ran by email, and the work was done on Microsoft Word and very simple programs for the most part. And I could take my laptop anywhere, and that's just what I did. I wanted to live abroad because I knew I could spend less. And by working really hard and earning more money, I was able to save, and grow that gap and get invested. So a handful of years later, I had enough saved and invested, so I don't have to work anymore. And yeah, it's been great. I kind of did a gradual phase into not working. I took 2 years and kind of stepped back. I had contractors working for me, so they did the heavy lifting. I did more of the emails and management side of the business while I'm hopping around the world. And then finally, I decided to kind of shut things down a few years ago.
Well, I think of you as the sunshine and snorkel lady.
That is me.
So you like you travel the world. You like 1 month at a time, and you snorkel, right? Is that what your kind of your theme is?
I love chasing summer. I love warm weather. I love the Caribbean and Southeast Asia.
You know, you like warm weather more than we do. You're warm to her is like cold is like 90 degrees. So she's like, I want the heat.
Yeah, I like the hot weather because if it's hot outside, then the ocean is going to be warm. And I prefer swimming in warm water. So I travel with my snorkel gear. I have one suitcase and I have my swim fins in there, my snorkel, my mask.
Wait. You have one suitcase and you got snorkel gear in it?
I do. It's the most important hobby I have. So I have to include my favorite things in there.
Cool. And so then you just find the best snorkel spots around the world?
I try my best. It's not as easy as I was hoping it to be. But I like to stay in a place 1, 2, or 3 months. If I can stay 3 months, it's all based on visas and what I'm allowed to do with my passport. I'm definitely at beach communities as much as possible. And some places are better for snorkeling than others. Sometimes I kind of miss it by with seasons and rainy season versus dry season. So if the ocean waves are too much, then it would be dangerous and I can't go in, or the water would be too murky at that time. So it's been an interesting past 5+ years, but I'm doing my best to try and chase those gorgeous turquoise water, white sandy beaches, or even I really fell in love with the black rock beaches, say in Ahmed, Bali. That was a nice change.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to share about your nomad life?
I think what's great is I like to take and kind of make like a goal for each year, and that will help me decide where I want to go and other things I want to do too. So this year was my summer in Greece or the Mediterranean. And each year I try. The previous year I was out in Southeast Asia. I had never been in that region. So each year I try and come up with, one goal that maybe doesn't have to spread across the whole 12 months, but a portion of it, and then I kind of do my planning around that.
So what is your 2025 goal?
My 2025 goal is to see family. So that's why I came back to the Latin America and Caribbean area. I'm going to hang out here. I've got family in Ecuador. My mother's going to meet me in the Caribbean. And then I'll also have some time to pop through the U.S. and see some other family and friends that are unable to travel at this time.
And there's not a lot of snorkeling in the U.S.
There's no snorkeling.
Well, there's Hawaii and maybe in the USVI.
But that's, not the continental. I mean, maybe a little bit in Florida.
The Mississippi River.
No.
But you could snorkel with the manatees in Florida.
We would go canoeing in some rivers and stuff like that in Kansas and Missouri. Well,
thanks so much.
Thanks.
Do you want to talk about who's coming up next?
Yeah, next we're going to hear from Ese and Colin.
Yeah, these guys, whoa, do they have a story to tell. So make sure you stay tuned, and we'll be right back with Ese and Colin. See you soon. Yeah, so who are you and how are you nomad?
Well, I'm Ese Garrity, and I am 60 years old.
And I'm Colin Garrity, and I'll be 70 in January.
And we started our planning for nomading probably like 5 years before we started.
Yeah.
The pandemic slowed that process down, but we sold everything, our house and our car, and put a few things in storage. And then we took off in July of 2022. We've been to a lot of places.
We have indeed been to a lot of places.
And I think we're still finding our ideal stride. We do road trips and walking trips where we may stay somewhere for 1 or 2 days at a time, and then we've been to some places where we stay 6 or 7 weeks, but probably average is, what do you think, 7 to 10 days?
I would say, yeah, probably something like that. I mean, it just all depends. Sometimes I think places might be more interesting than they are, and that turns out to not be the truth, and sometimes they're more interesting than we thought they'd be, and we're sorry to say we want to go back. So.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the kinds of places that we stay in?
Yeah, normally we try to stay in Airbnbs because we like to cook for ourselves. It kind of negates the eating out every day. When we did Camino, you have to eat out every day because you're not Caminoing. So that's kind of our preference, but we also do hotels when necessary. I like hotels because they provide ease of care. And,
sometimes we get a gym.
Yeah, that's true.
I like having the gym available at times.
Yeah.
And didn't you buy a place somewhere?
We did, actually, and it was unplanned. But, you can't pass up a good deal. So we bought a small apartment in Trieste, Italy, and it's currently being renovated. We haven't stayed in it yet, but we're looking forward to having it as a travel hub. We'll just stop there. We'll have more of our stuff there instead of in storage, and just visit this beautiful little city on a regular basis.
Yeah, it negates the need for constant trips to the US, which can be cumbersome because it's a hub around which we can travel. My dream, ideally, is there'll be 3 or 4 of these throughout the world, and we'll kind of, the one in the States will be great when we're in the States, but obviously Europe's good, then we'll look in the South Seas for something, so that's kind of the idea.
And where's your place in the States?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Where's your storage unit?
Well, our storage
Nevada.
unit is in Nevada. That probably won't be where our place is. We actually recently went for the first time to Minneapolis, Minnesota.
You like it a lot?
It was a great city. Yeah. We won't be there in the winter. But it really is a lovely city.
That's the other thing. The idea is chasing the sun. So I'm not really a cold person. I'll do a planet trip to Antarctica next January. And I've been to the Arctic Circle. So I do venture out into cold places. But the idea being following the sun. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about nomad life?
We love this lifestyle. I mean, I crave novelty in my life, and travel gives me that novelty every day. And so I don't get bored. It also helps keep me active, although I do have to watch what he cooks, keeps me healthier. And I long for experiences over things, so it's perfect for us.
Yeah, I would say I pretty much agree with that. I mean, I've liked traveling my whole life. I don't really care where I go. I just like to visit different cultures and see different things. I would tell people it's not any more expensive than living a regular life, depending on how one goes about it. But yeah, I would invite people to at least check it out, maybe rent their home, take 6 months and see what it's like to be out on the planet. But I just like being out on the planet. So.
And are you still working?
Oh, I forgot to mention that I am a digital nomad, so I work 30 hours a week. I do it not because I have to, but I love my job. So I fit it in, and I found European time zone is perfect for that. So we spend a lot of time in Europe because I can work a few hours in the morning, play all day long, and then take meetings in the evenings before anybody's having dinner in Europe, and communicate with my colleagues in the US. So I love continuing with my job. It gives us a little extra security with that income, and I plan to keep doing it for the long term.
Would you like to introduce Lisa S.?
Yeah, so we're so excited that we've met some other new nomads, and you're going to meet Lisa S. next.
So weren't Ese and Colin just so interesting? They're so cute, and they're so different. She's real vibrant, and he's real quiet, and it's just fun to talk to them. So he didn't mention that he was Irish, but he's also from Ireland. So all our Irish viewers, make sure you say hi to Colin. But now we've got Lisa. Lisa is just, we met Lisa, met her virtually first, but now we've met her again on the ship. And what an amazing person Lisa is. I can't wait for you to hear her story. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, thank you so much. That was a nice introduction. I really appreciate that. Yeah, actually, this is not my first nomading. I was thinking about that, and many, many years ago when I was 29, I did 1.5 years nomading on a bicycle. And I think
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I had loaded up the bike. I had sold everything, loaded up the bike with everything that I owned, and I took off in Europe mostly. I camped out on the side of the road, I put up my tent, and I went. Every day was a new place. But when I did that, I realized I wasn't creating a whole lot of community. And when I thought about doing this trip this year, or for this, I realized that that's what I was looking for. I wanted more community, more people in my life.
So did you do the biking and then you went back and did your nursing career and then you
medical assistant?
Medical
but
assistant,
yes.
okay.
Well, I didn't actually. I had many different careers before that, and then got into medical assisting about 13 years ago. But yeah, I went back because I was 29 when I finished, and I bicycled to Alaska, and I bicycled across the United States, across Canada, and I realized I needed to make money and have a career. So fast forward about 30 years later, and I finally realized it's time to retire. And when I thought about what I wanted to do, it wasn't the bicycle because it didn't bring enough community for me. And I thought about a way I can do it budgeting and meeting people at the same time.
And what is that?
I looked up something called Workaway.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So you're
it's
a workawayer.
I am a workawayer, and I love it. So it's a platform online, and it has about 10,000 hosts around the world, and they write a profile, you write a profile, and if you like what they say, you write them a letter, and you say, choose me. And then they say, come on down. So what it is you exchange 25 hours of volunteer labor a week, and they give you room and board. And so you are integrated into the family.
That sounds so cool. So what are some of the workaway things you've done?
Yeah, well, they vary. I choose the ones that are mostly gardening because that's my best non-skill kind of job that I can do. There are ones where you could be doing roofing or building a cob house, but not for me. So I figure I can do gardening, I can do some cooking. I do the ones where I'm sort of extra hands around the house. And then I meet other people. I'm invited into the family. We have dinner together. We go on some trips together, or there are other workaways. So
what have some of your accommodations been at your workaways?
Oh my gosh, they've been so good. I really can't believe it. I've chosen really well. I had many where I have my own room. I have my own bathroom. They look like Airbnbs. Some of them had been Airbnbs. There was one I shared with about 5 other young people in this small town where there were more black cats than people. And we all finished work and we went hiking together. We made dinners together. We had breakfast together. Yeah, it was really great.
So in 2025, do you have any workaways lined up or that you're really excited about?
I don't. I've done it now for about 2.5 years. And I'm getting to the point where after about 24 of them, I think I need a bit of a break. Going now down to South America, I'm thinking that I might do teaching English as a volunteer through Workaway. It's less physical, yeah. And I'm getting a bit older, so I'm thinking that, and I think it would be lovely to be integrated into a community or into a family teaching English. I'm really excited about that.
Cool.
So between that and just traveling and seeing South America, I think my next year's plan feels really, really exciting. Yeah.
So do you have, to kind of back to your nomad part of your life, do you have any base that you go out of? Do you have any storage anywhere? Do you have a home?
Good question.
Anywhere?
No. When I decided to do this, I was like, right, I'm going to sell the apartment. I'm going to sell everything that I own in the apartment. I'm not going to take storage unit because I remember when I did, back when I was 29, you never go back to the storage unit. You just don't. And being solo, I always feel that whatever toys you had, you'll get new toys. That's the whole thing about it.
But you just said something that I don't think people were really aware of, that you also are a solo traveler, a solo female traveler.
A solo female traveler, which is very different. So that's why I think I like community, because everywhere I go, I look for who I can chat with, who I can speak with, who's out there that wants to have a great conversation, who can I learn from, who can tell me about their culture. So I really enjoy that. But the one thing I did keep, and the one thing that allows me to travel, is I do have some passive income. So I have a rental house. And that gives me part of the income to travel without going into savings. And eventually I'll go into savings, but not yet.
Do you ever see yourself living in that rental house in the future?
No, I think when the tenants move out, and they've been there for 10 years, when the tenants move out, I'll probably just sell it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's the plan.
But any last things you want to say about being a nomad?
I would say if you have any concerns about doing this as a solo female, just do it. Live your dream. It is really, really exciting. You'll meet other people on the road that'll help you out, that'll guide you. There are tons of books out there. There's videos. You just got to go and do it. Yeah. Really. That's the last thing I have to say about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, do you want to introduce our next guest?
Yes. We have some great guests coming up. I hope you get to enjoy Lisa and Lance, who are up next, and they have a fascinating story to tell you. So stay tuned.
Yeah. So wasn't Lisa fantastic? Just a little ball of energy, and that Workaway is just such a neat idea. But you know what? We have yet another Lisa. So Lisa and Lance, we met them. This is our second cruise together, and then we hung out in Montreal for the fireworks festival. And we just love Lisa and Lance, and so glad to have you here, Lisa. Say hello.
Well, thank you. Hello. I've been watching Chris and Steve for quite some time. And I'm delighted to be joining you today on your YouTube video.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been pretty great.
And Lance decided that he's going to let you do this all by yourself.
He's a little camera shy, but that's
all
okay.
right. Hi, Lance. So tell me about being a nomad. What's your nomad style? What do you guys do?
Well, I would say that we really balance new adventures with a little bit of familiarity, because the way it seems to work best for us is if you're traveling full time and you're traveling kind of fast, you tend to burn out. And so we found out, actually kind of by accident, when we first started our nomad journeys, it's been about a year and a half ago. We decided that the best thing to do for the first couple of months was to go to Montreal, one of our favorite cities. Well, we sold the condo, so we have no home base. We have we don't own any property anymore. So we went to Montreal to tie up the loose ends and sell the condo. And then we started off on our journey, and that's where we met you and Steve. We were on a
Right, we did a repositioning cruise
we did
down
a
to Australia.
repositioning cruise,
Yeah.
which we really like repositioning cruises. But that really set us up. We had a wonderful time. Montreal is a wonderful city, and always lots and lots of things to do, and we stayed in a neighborhood we really liked. So we went traveling for the next 9 months. At the end of that 9 months, we'd been traveling fairly fast through Southeast Asia. At the end of that, we thought, let's go back to Montreal and rest for a while. So we did, and we stayed there another 3 months, and that was really great. So I think we've learned that fast travel doesn't work that well for us long term. We do need to have a little bit of a break, and 3 months is about right for us. We'll travel anywhere from a week at a time to a month at a time in a place, and then it's time to go back to a place and stay for 3 months. And I don't think it'll always be Montreal. We're probably going to do one more year then, and then find somewhere else that we really like.
So do you follow a particular theme? Do you follow authors or movie sets or weather, or what drives you to travel?
I think for this first little while it's been bucket list items. Let's go to all the places we've always wanted to see. So we snorkeled the Great Barrier Reef. We're not snorkelers.
And you walk the Camino, and you're not walkers.
We walked the Camino de Santiago the whole 750 kilometers.
Yeah.
And we're not really hikers, but...
You are now. Yeah, you are now. You're long distance walkers now.
We're long distance walkers now.
So what are you going to be next year in 2025? You weren't snorkelers. You weren't walkers. Now what are you not going to be in 2025? I'm putting you on the
That's a
spot.
good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Where are you going in 2025? What are some of your goals?
We actually haven't decided yet.
Oh, okay.
So I think we are going to be sailing back to Europe. We're going to spend a little more time in Europe, going to different places. I do think we'll probably do some more walking, and we're going to visit Istanbul for the first time, which has been on our list for a long time.
Yeah.
This cruise now is taking us to Buenos Aires, which has been on my list for probably 20 years or more.
Yeah.
So I'm quite delighted that we'll be able to spend some time there.
Isn't it fun to work a bucket list,
Yeah, it really is. So things just kind of keep coming up, and it's very exciting to see what'll turn up. I do follow lots of nomads on YouTube, you and several other people, and we also kind of pay attention to where all the cool kids are going.
Well, what is funny about nomad life is we all generally have the same kind of criteria. We want to be in fun places. We want to be, the currency is easy to use, the weather's good, the food's good. There's maybe other nomads there, and we all tend to kind of show up in the same places at the same time. So,
that's true.
I think we met in our Facebook group, in the Nomad Life Facebook group, and then we met obviously in real life, but we've got 60 other people from our Nomad group that are going to be in Buenos Aires. They're not arriving there by ship, they're arriving in different ways, but we're all going to be basically in the same neighborhoods. We all kind of look for the same type of neighborhoods as well. And we'll have all these social activities all over January with all these other nomads who we met online, and now we're going to meet in real life because we're all the cool kids.
Yeah.
All the cool kids are coming together.
And that's one thing that actually surprised me about nomad life. Lance and I thought it would be just he and I out there, and we'd be just traveling and we wouldn't really know anybody, but it turns out that we have met several friends in several different countries on several different continents.
Yeah.
And that's been the best part of it.
Yeah, that was one of Steve's biggest fear when we launched, that we would be lonely and alone, and that's definitely not the truth.
That's not the
we are
case.
really. You can be as engaged and as friendly and as outgoing, but you're not. You're kind of an introvert, and you and Lance are kind of introverts.
We are. We
But
are.
you're still managing to find your social network.
That's true. That's true. We're still enjoying meetups, and we go to them whenever they make themselves whenever they turn up. So yes,
Yeah.
we do that.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about nomad life?
I think long term our plan is to slow down even more. I think we're looking for those 10 or 12 best places in the world that we just love more than anything, and we'll probably maybe try to slow down and stay in each one, rotate between them,
Oh, I love
maybe
that.
every 2.5 months to every 3 months. I have a storage unit, but it doesn't look like we're ever going to settle back down again, so I have to do something about that.
Yeah, I think the nomad life advice I hear a lot from people is don't ever get a storage unit.
Yeah.
Because you eventually end up getting rid of it anyway, and you
Yeah.
pay for it over time, and then by the time you get back to it, you're like, why did I keep that?
That's true, but sometimes things have to sit there for a
Yeah,
while
that's
before
true.
you can bring yourself to release them into
it's
the world.
It's a process. It's definitely a process.
It's definitely a process.
Well, Lisa, thanks so much for coming along. Make sure you say hi to Lance for us.
I will do so.
And we really appreciate you having here. So that's all of our really wonderful folks. And we've got a little bit, Steve and I have a couple more words to say, so stay tuned. Wow, what an amazing group of nimble, mobile, fun, adventurous, crazy, kind,
passionate people,
Yeah.
people that love to travel and love to explore and see the world and hang out with other people, like crazy people like us. Who
I
are
don't
doing
think
the
we're
same.
crazy. I think we're disruptors. I think we've disrupted how people think about retirement, and we're providing lots of examples of how you don't have to. Not that it's wrong, not that it's, you don't have to sit in a house in Florida on the beach or on the golf course. You can really go out and see the world in your retirement.
Yeah, and what's amazing is that this sense of creativity too. Like we heard lots of people talking about, their Facebook page or their books or their websites, things that you can do to check out their travel and follow them along.
Yeah, so make sure you do that.
We certainly appreciate you subscribing to this channel, but they're amazing and creative people.
Yeah, and the story continues. We wrote a book called The Nomad Life, which tells you a lot more details about our life and the tips and tricks of our life, or our nomad life. So you can make sure there's a little ad at the end of the video. You can get more details about that. You can buy The Nomad Life on Amazon. Again, I'm going to go ahead and write another book about nomad life. So if you're interested in being in that book, please reach out to us, or if you are interested in reading that book and you want to hear about particular styles of nomads, if you know somebody that, or you're thinking about something and you want to talk about it, or you're living that, let us know, because we'd love to include you in that book. But in the meantime, we're going to go off to, is there jazz or Zumba or something, or bingo or trivia?
Bingo,
Or
definitely.
sexy male leg competition.
I'm gonna
Steve's
go.
gonna win that.
I'm gonna go to the hot tub and have my 7th cup of tea.
You party animal, you. All right. See you next week.